Hi and welcome to the next part of this tutorial where we shall begin creating our photo frames. So inside your Rainy Scene project folder you should see a folder called 02 PSD and AI. The photo frame start PSD is here and that's where we shall begin, so if you could open that. Inside the canvas we have a paper texture. The canvas itself is a 1024 by 1024 pixel image. I already added the guides here. If you can't see those, go to View, Show, Guides. Also, whilst we're there, make sure you have snapping turned on. So go to View and Allow Snapping. Snap it to Guides and Layers, Document Bounds, and that's what we want. Select the rectangular marquee tool and make sure the feathering is set to 0. Select around this top left hand corner here. Your pointer should snap to this point of where these two guides meet. Let's drag and go down to the bottom right. Then use Select Inverse. Now our selection should not be taken from this center, it should be taken from this edge boundary here. And let's test that out by pressing delete. Okay, so this is what we want to see. The next thing we want to do is change the layer name. We'll call this one Back. And we'll duplicate that layer by right clicking and selecting Duplicate Layer. Then we'll rename it Front. Let's hide the back layer for now. I'll explain what we're doing here. When we take this into After Effects, it's going to be a composition of its own. And inside that we're going to add our photos and we'll be dropping that through 3D space. During that time we're going to flip it around, and as it's tumbling through the air, sometimes the back might be visible. So when the back is visible in After Effects, usually you basically see a mirror reflection of your image, so everything that's on the left will now be on the right. So we've created this back layer so that we can activate it every time the back of this composition is visible to the camera. So with our front layer selected, we want to be showing our grids on our PSD. So let's zoom in a little bit so you can see what I'm doing here. Go to View, Show, Grid. Okay, now that you can see the grid, it's going to make it a lot easier to select the area where our pictures will be going. So let's grab a guide from here and drag it to around this area here. I'm not sure if you can actually see the grid at the resolution I'm capturing at, so I'm just going to wave my mouse around here to indicate the area where you need to drag your guide to. So let's grab another guide and we're going to grab that and drop that around here. And we do the same again from this top layer here. You'll probably be able to do this by eye. I just want to give you as much guidance as I can. I'm going to grab one more, and this time I'm going to make it a bit thicker, so it's a bit like a typical Polaroid. You know, we want to take this into After Effects and be able to put some text down here. Now with our new guides laid out, let's grab the selection tool again and make sure that feathering is still at 0. Select again like we did before, and let's make our selection here. And delete. Okay, that looks good to me. Looks like a normal Polaroid, which is what we want. The next thing what we want to do is make it look a little bit dirty. So for that, we're going to be using the Burn tool. The Burn tool does just what its name says really. It kind of adds a burnt type look to our texture. We want to make this look a bit grungy and grubby, so it's not like this perfect picture frame anymore. You should now be able to start seeing a difference in colour, so it's not so perfect anymore. I'm just using a pen tablet here, so it's got pressure sensitivity added, so you might start seeing a different result if you're on a mouse, but it really doesn't have to be exactly the same as mine. We just want to make it look imperfect and damaged, really. Yeah, I think that looks fine now. Like I said, as long as it doesn't look perfect, I mean, it doesn't have to even be exactly the same as mine if you're following along. I'd definitely say that's enough burning for now. So the next step is to add our scratches. So for every scratch, we're going to be adding a new layer, and we're going to be creating these scratches from a brush. I use this website here, Brush Easy. It's a free for commercial use website and you can use them however you wish. They even say you don't need to credit the author or where you get the brushes from, but I prefer to at least let you know. So it's brusheasy.com, and the one we'll be using here is Black Borders Brushes. I'll include the layers in the Photoshop file anyway, but you should check out that website and find some cool brushes for yourself. Let's create a new layer and call it Scratch 1. With the Scratch 1 layer selected, I'm going to come over to the left and select the brush tool. I've already preloaded my Scratch brushes here. In the document included with the project files, there are instructions on how you can do this too. I'm going to select white for our colour and click just once to make our scratch. Then I'm going to make a new layer. I'm going to select another one of the brushes that came with the download pack, and then I'm going to scale it down with a left square bracket just to bring it down there. Right bracket will make your brushes bigger and left bracket will make it smaller. So we want them to be about this size. So if it's big, at least we can reduce the size down in After Effects. If it's too small and we increased it, it would be a bit too pixelated. And we'll call that layer Scratch 2. We'll make another layer. We'll select one of these, maybe this one here, and we'll call that Scratch 3. So let's keep reducing that brush down here. It must be a really big brush. Here we are. These are quite high quality brushes. You must see how many times I'm pressing this left bracket key just to bring it in. So let's click and do one more. Make a new layer and select a different brush. I'm going to select this one here. Okay, let's go back in. Oops, let's undo that. Bring this down and let's just go click anywhere here. Okay, that's it for our Polaroid. We'll now be taking these into After Effects where we'll be putting our photos under here. Another thing we can do now is select this layer, layer 0, and delete. Okay, so let's save that now. Let's go to Save As and we'll call this Photo Frame. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Let me do that again. I wanted to call this Photo Frame for AE, and I'll delete this so you won't see that in your final folder. So that's the end, and I guess I'll see you next in After Effects.